We will call this meeting of Kind of Event City School District number 52 to order. Please join with the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag. Just that one, move on to the agenda. Do we have any comments, questions, modifications? All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, delegation, Mr. Peterson.
I might have one this evening. Thank you. This is probably, I don't say probably, this is my favorite school board meeting of the year because our principals over the past month have worked to find their students of the month, students of the year for each grade level, which is why a whole bunch of you are here tonight. So I'm going to call up the principals who are going to introduce your students, probably say something very nice about them. And the one thing I want to assure you is once we're all done, we'd like to get a picture of all of the students of the year. And then please feel free to take off if you would like to. You do not have to stay for the whole meeting. I did not want you to think that we invited you here just to get you to a full hour and a half meeting. That is not the case. It is simply to reward your students and acknowledge them for working very hard this year and for some the past 12 years.
Extra credit if you stay the whole time.
There you go. So we're going to start with Mr. Henry at the high school level.
Okay, so this is exciting for me because of the last year. It's really to recognize students that just work hard, they persevere, they do all they can. It's all the great athletes and all the great students get recognition. It's for your kids because they work hard with a great kids here. Really appreciate that. So I'm going to start with Jacob Wagner. There you go. And then Rosetta Philippines. Before anyone gets about to go. What the other kids are, my 9th grade student is actually playing softball. They going on right now for athletics, great sports. But I just want to make sure you understand they can't work hard. So with illnesses, with working through all the battles, just to be able to pass those classes.
If you guys wouldn't mind, you three, if you would just scoot right down here, and then we'll have the middle school right behind you.
Mr. Davis.
Yes, thank you.
All right, good evening, everybody. Coach Davis, principal at the middle school. And it's my honor to introduce the middle school student of the year. And we're recognizing exceptional students who have created outstanding character and dedication throughout the school year. It is with great pride and pleasure that I would like to recognize my personal. Our 6th grade student of the year exemplifies power in all that she does. Consistently demonstrating and dedicating perseverance and leadership. Not only in academics, but also in last week, she's kind, accepting, and influences on the first student with the nine less deserving of this honor without the celebrated achievement. We have next, it's Fernanda. I'm going to get you turn. She is our grade 7 student of the year. She consistently demonstrates Cub power through her dedication, kindness, and strong work ethic. She excels academically and brings creativity and passion to everything she does, making her a standout in both the classroom and athletics. Emma is truly deserving of this recognition, and we're proud to celebrate her achievements. Nice job. Aiden Mendoza. Jalen is our 8th grade student of the year. She stands out as a natural leader, consistently taking initiative, inspiring those around her with confidence and positivity. Her strong sense of humor, paired with her dedication and drive, creates a welcoming and motivating environment for her peers. Jalen truly embodies Cub power in every way. We're proud to celebrate her well-earned success and wish her the best of luck as she enters high school next year. As a middle school staff, we are super proud of these 3 remarkable young students. They exemplify Cub power and spirit in everything they do. We can't wait to see what they do next. Thank you. Nice job. And over to
Just scooch down a little bit more. You're good.
Perfect.
And Lisa?
All right.
I'm Mrs. Upton and I'm the principal at Kyle at 3. And I'm so we're gonna go back and forth. So we looked at students who exemplify our 3-for-3 behavior, which is being respectful, responsible, and safe. Who have grown some academically, but also both behaviorally and socially and emotionally. Okay, so our first person we're gonna call is Kyron and Kyron has been such a good listener. He was nominated by Mrs. Beakley, and she said that he's just, or Wingle, sorry. He said that she was very sweet and kind and always showing 3-for-3 behavior, respectful, responsible, and safe. And he won 2 character trait awards this year. It was responsibility and cooperation. And when they had a new student come to the classroom in the last few days, they sat him next to that person because they knew that he would be a good friend for that new friend coming into our building. And we're all the friends. So that's our next student is Bryson Martin from 1st grade. So Bryson has grown 30 points this year in math. And Mrs. Thomas is very proud. We all are very proud of the growth that he has made throughout this year. But Mrs. Thomas and Bryson both know that it's not just about the growth that he's made in math. One of the things that Mrs. Thomas is very proud of in relation to Bryson is that he knows that it's not about just being smart, but it's about growing, right? And that's what Bryson told Mrs. Thomas one day, that he doesn't just want to be smart, he just wants to continue growing. And she's very proud of him and all of the growth that he's made this year. So thank you. Our 2nd grade student actually couldn't make it, but Marco Johnson is the 2nd grade student that was nominated this year, and he's made a tremendous amount of growth, both socially and emotionally, academically as well. But he was recognized by his teacher, Mrs. Wolf, for all of the social, emotional, and behavioral growth that he's made. So we just wanted to make sure that we recognized him as well. And then Diego Villanueva Bravo is our third. And he was nominated by the third grade team and his teacher, Mr. Jones. Diego has made a tremendous amount of growth this year as well, both in the classroom and out of the classroom. He too has grown in points, just across the board, but he actually has made a lot of growth, socially and emotionally. So, Mr. Jones has helped Diego with some different things in relation to friendships, but Diego has made a tremendous amount of growth on his own with the kids in his classroom, and Walk to Read and then school-wide. And so he was nominated, for the growth that he's made just across the board. We're very proud of Diego for all of the things that he's accomplished this year. So our next student in fourth grade is Rosemary Maserco. Come on, let's see. So she was nominated by Mrs. Alvarado. So she has Miss Alvarado. And again, for showing that pre-perfect behavior, the respectful, responsible, safe. She has been a leader in our classroom, has worked really, really hard this year and grown a ton, and just been an amazing leader in her classroom. Really showing kindness and grace for others while still working really hard. And so, yeah, it was great.
Now, if we can have you guys just go back in front and we'll get a group picture of everybody.
Hopefully, I don't know. You could just back up on the table. Together, guys. Hide the people in the back.
Perfect.
And my mom, they're taking pictures.
Any more pictures? Let's give a big round of applause to everybody. And thank you so much for taking some time out of your Tuesday evening to help us celebrate these fine students. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Well, I know, but we need to do it anyway. I can't do that thing. Jim, I think next year. I mean, that's,
I'll find some of them.
there was a lot of people last year, but I think it's the same reason. Robot, yeah, right, yeah, right, like they. Probably.
I tried all the ones I need.
Okay.
Buckled in the car.
Everywhere.
Thank you. Get in the way. Do they have?
Oh.
No one took me up on the extra credit.
Anybody.
A lot of things have to be worth that for extra, that much.
Very proud of all those students, so
Yeah.
thank you, especially to our principals and staff who attended and made that happen in the recommendations. That's kind of a fun part of this job for sure. All right, we'll move on to the proposed consent agenda. Any comments or questions, modifications? We'll entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
I motion to approve the proposed consent agenda. Oh, no.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 With that, we'll move to public comment. Do we have any public comment? Okay, we have my spiel here. I'll read. So, board welcomes input from the community. Please follow the public comment procedure by stating your name at the podium when recognized by the chair. Each person is allowed 3 minutes to speak. You'll hear a little chime off to your right. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, the board is not allowed to discuss items not on the agenda. The board will direct the superintendent to follow up on any items that arise during public comment as appropriate. The board will not allow complaints against any individual staff member or student in an open session unless that individual has requested an open public meeting. In other words, no student or employee names to be used. Floor is yours.
All right, my name is Ty Early. And this is basically the only way I get to share my case. I have had zero formal interview due to a status I was given that I am not. I have said on multiple occasions that that's not, I'm a continuing teacher, I'm not a provisional teacher. We've came close to filing a grievance multiple times, still haven't got there. I'm sorry that I don't have all of my evidence at the time. Maybe we'll have to file a motion for supplemental evidence, but that could be down the line. Due to the fact that I was supposed to receive the email stating his decision 3 days prior to this board meeting. And here you will see that I received that email at 4:10 p.m. conveniently dated Friday. So on that, I am going to, based on RCW 28845320, serve the chair of the board with my appeal. There is that. And here is some of the information, but like I said, I was not able to gather it all in 2 hours and 20 minutes. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Definitely put the spiel again, or
As long as you heard it. So
I heard it.
please state.
Yeah.
I'd
So,
rather not say it again. So, but
my
please state your
name
name.
is Paul. I am the elementary school counselor. I just wanted to be able to at least speak at the meeting. I also did receive my email from Mr. Peterson about the advisement to the board for non-renewal due to budget and then defining enrollment. I did just want to be able to publicly say that I very much have appreciated my time here at IB, and I wish the decision was different. And I know that's not something that is necessarily a KIB thing. It is a statewide thing of having very limited funds when it comes to education. Unfortunately, right now, counseling is one of the things that is listed under being funded by levies, and with the not passing of our levy, unfortunately, that's where we're at. That is something that I believe needs to be changed statewide. That's not just an IB issue, and I fully understand that. So one of the things that I do want to try and do, along with hopefully other members of the board, members of the community, being able to try and make it publicly known to everybody in the state what actually goes into school counseling, what is funded by levies, that type of stuff, just and hopefully trying to make a difference in that form, because there is a lot that our students need that are going to unfortunately not be met this next year due to not having a counselor at the elementary school with so many students, so little resources in the community, just again, due to the nature that we're in our state of not having adequate mental health and social emotional resources statewide, not just here, and I know that, but I just want to invite anybody that wants to be able to try and join me in that journey of trying to make a difference and trying to make it so then we don't have to be in this place of counselors being funded by levies.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Any other public comment? Do we have any electronic? Okay, with that, we'll move on to unfinished business. Item A, policy 6214, food and beverages, seeking approval, Mr. Peterson.
Nothing has changed since the second reading, and I haven't received any questions or anything, so. With regards to this one, once more, we're simply putting this policy into place so that we can hold ourselves accountable for any funds that we spend regarding staff meals and such. So tonight I would simply ask for the board's approval on policy 6214.
Do you have any comments or questions on 6214?
I will move to approve policy 6214, food and beverages.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, with that, we'll move on to item 7B, summer school update, Mr. Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. Skipper. I wanted to make sure the board is aware, as we have talked about before, we've changed the scope of our summer school program to be focusing on kids who are at the highest level of need, as opposed to just a come one, come all. And we are currently still under 40 students having registered at the elementary level, with most of those being in 3rd and 4th grade. Quite frankly, we're not going to be able to, if the decision had to be made today, we would not be running a summer school program at the elementary level. We will still have a secondary program for credit retrieval. I am hopeful that in the time right before school ends, because we usually get a rush right towards the end of school. So this is not an end all be all by any stretch, but right now, 3rd and 4th grade would be the only ones that we would even consider. I think we had 2 first graders and maybe 3 second graders pre-registered before this evening. So as we move forward, I will be giving the board updates about the numbers of registered students, and hopefully Monday, Tuesday next week, we'll have enough to go ahead and fill some positions, but it's looking a lot slimmer. Even as I look back at previous years, we'd had more pre-registered and more interest in summer school by this time than we have this year.
What do we consider our cutoff for that?
As far as a number,
Yeah, no, as far as when do we need to make a decision by?
I think that realistically to get us in a spot where we could have everyone hired, Wednesday of next week would be the very latest.
And is the public aware that if we don't get more interest, it won't happen?
We have not put anything out to that effect. I wanted to bring the board up to speed first. I prefer the board not get their information from me via Parent Square or anything, so I thought I'd bring it up here first, but by all means, we will be sharing that information.
It just seems like one of those things that, flies under the radar until that last second. The parent's like, oh, wait. So I just, next Wednesday's really soon.
Yeah. Agreed. And that's all I have for summer school.
All right. Any other items on summer school? All right, with that, we'll move on to new business resolution for 2025 declaring surplus. Mr. Peterson.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Mr. Skipper. Just asking for the board's approval, and we'll need a roll call vote for this one. We have a resolution declaring a surplus. These are items, and I know Mr. Crago and his crew have been busy collecting items from across the district. And we've got a list that we, of course, will be making public, but simply approval for us to go ahead and dispose of through the surplus process.
Okay. Any comments on the surplus list? allow for, how do you do a roll call? We need first and second on that first. I'll entertain a motion first.
I'll motion to approve resolution 4-2025 declaring surplus.
All right, with that, we'll move on to item 8B, highly capable plan. Mr. Peterson.
Yes, thank you again, Mr. Skipper. I'm going to invite Jennifer Gilliland to come up. Jennifer, as you are well aware, is our district assessment coordinator, our testing guru, but also, quite frankly, has a special place in her heart for highly capable. Given that so much of the identification of highly capable students falls into her realm anyway, it was a natural fit. I know we've had the discussion before that we've had for the first 4, 5, 6 years of my time here, that we have had a highly capable program that, quite frankly, was modeled in the 1980s. At best, maybe the 1990s. And Jennifer really felt like it was time to try and create a system that would allow us to take a step forward. I'm really glad Annalise is here. Annalise and I had this conversation a couple of years ago, where she was intent upon getting her 4th grade students at the time moved into a math class that was appropriate and not simply being forced to do the same old, same old. And actually, I think they were 5th graders at the time. And we ended up moving those kids. They were the first kids to go up to our middle school to take a 6th grade course. And really, that was kind of the drop in the bucket that started a flood. And so Jennifer's been working hard this past year, really not so much to improve the system, but quite frankly, just to redesign it. So here she is to give you an idea of what we're looking at.
Can they see my phone?
They got it.
Oh, yeah, we have it right here. Okay. So, Jennifer Gilliland. The reason high cap is special to me is my son is high functioning on the autism spectrum. So he's what you would call a twice exceptional student. And so I've been fighting since he was in 4th grade. We got him diagnosed. So it's near and dear to my heart, and I do appreciate that. Thank you. So why do we have a high cap program? Well, it's the law. We have to. And we've kind of dropped the ball the last couple of years, mostly because the other person retired. And so I don't know if resurrection is the right word, but we're bringing it back to life. But it's not going to be the same thing that you saw before. So what did we do this year? We pulled out the records and tried to identify all of the previous high cap kids. Within our SIS student information system, there's a little light bulb next to the kids who are considered high cap. Not all of them from her previous documentation were actually notated. So when I started at the beginning of the year, I think we pulled a list from Cedars and it said we had something like 8 kids, and we're probably at least 3 times that in the elementary school by the time I got done. So that meant that information was not getting to OSPI. So now we fixed that, okay? Now we're probably sitting at about 75 kids in the whole district. What I was finding was the previous person had a list of high cap kids, but no testing documentation. What was the reason they were labeled that? Nothing like that. So from this point going forward, all that documentation will be in each student's curriculum file, academic file. So that being said, that's the one thing I absolutely made sure we did this year. I may have to go back and test some kids who it's just a mystery what they're highly capable of, but they're probably highly capable. We just need to figure out what that is. And that means I'm going to be testing some extra kids next year. So we made sure that was updated. We collected data about what had been done previously and what teachers would like to see. We gave the COGAT in both 2nd and 5th grade because the state requires us to do a universal screening. I think we did it last year was the first time, but so this was our 2nd year doing that. We had some great results.
We identified kids who needed further testing. I call it triggering the screener. And then we went ahead and did the 3-hour test on each of those kids. And we did that first grade through, I think 11th grade was the oldest kid we did. And that was the older kids, if they weren't in 2nd or 5th grade, the older kids were from teacher or parent recommendation. And so my goal for this next year is we have an official timeline. So we're going to do public notifications during the summer about the process that we have for identification. I did create a page on the website already, but I'm not done with it. I'm still going to work on it. But we also need to have a way for the parents to request that their child be tested. And so I do need to figure out how to create like a form on the website that the parents can just fill out. And then it'll automatically send it to hopefully me. I have to figure it out. So we'll get that done. In fall, we will open up for everyone. Parents, teachers, students can nominate themselves. Community members can nominate students. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the parent or the teacher. But the parent and the teacher usually are best ways of getting that information. In the wintertime in November is when we give the universal screener. And so we'll continue to do that in grades 2 and 5. And then in December and January, because of the nature of the COGAT test, once the kids take the screener, we have to test them within 30 days for the full test. And so that's why November, December is when we do the COGAT test. I try to do it before December because, once December 1st hits, they're like, it's almost vacation time for them. So I try to get it all done before then. And then in January, we do all of the testing when we get back from break. And then in the springtime, February, March, and April is when we review all of the assessment data, and I'll explain the whole process for that too. And then we have to convene, this OSPI has said, actually it's the state, I think said it, right? The multidisciplinary selection committee has to meet. And we've done that this year for our kids that tested last year. So I already have a list of students. I'm going to be mailing letters home to parents, either letting them know that yes, they were put into the HiCap program for the fall, or we're going to delay their admittance or something like that. So I will be sending official notifications out. And then by the end of the school year, we'll send those letters home, but we'll also schedule individual learning plans. So the state now requires every HiCap kid to have kind of like an IEP, and they're called individual learning plans. And we have to sit down with the parents, with the HiCap coordinator and school psych or school counselor, and make sure that they are taking the classes that they need or getting access to programs or things that they need to meet their needs as a highly capable student. So my goals for next year are the following. We're going to continue our committee work. I have a committee that's been working with me, by the way. I forget what I called that. Anyway, HiCap evaluation committee. And we're going to keep working next year until we've got this down to a fine art. Part of that work is going to be establishing a mission, vision, and values for the highly capable program. We're also, my wish is that we could have HiCap coaches in each building, kind of like a special ed teacher. This would be someone who's their specialization is gifted and highly capable students. And then they would be in charge of the caseload of highly capable students. I know with the way things look, it's probably going to be me next year. We also need to develop a comprehensive individual learning plan system. Right now, I just have a form that I made based off of a lot of input from different areas. And I'm sure we're going to tweak that and change it and make it better for our kids. And then I do want to try to create some professional development opportunities for our staff. There is a gifted certification that people can get from Whitworth University, and I think the University of Washington also has one. And there is a cohort we could put together. They'll do a program with everybody in, they have to have at least 10 teachers in our area to do it. This is through Whitworth. So I want to try to do that, get some people together to do that. There's some grants and scholarships that are out there that I'm going to encourage those people to do. One thing we also need to do is professional development for our staff about what does acceleration look like for a high cap kid? What does compacting look like? That's taking the curriculum and compacting it down. We need some more clubs for these kids to participate in. We need to participate in some competitions, which are local. Some of them go from local to district to state to national, and those are things that we could look at. For example, science fairs, math is cool, those kinds of things. Spelling bees, we could do those things too. I would also like to try to build some community partnerships. So our older kids, really for them, the highly capable program looks like mentoring with maybe someone in the field they're thinking about going into, maybe taking some field trips to the Reach or something like that. So we'll try to work on those too. Every year, we're supposed to evaluate our program, and so I'm gonna put that into place for every end of the school year. And then we need to just make sure that what we're doing is equal and accessible by all students in our district. And one of the number one things that we're doing is that universal screener, because it's completely, they're just a number until we get everything down. And the last thing we need to do is we do need to set local norms for our school district. And what that means is we need to look at the scores of all the kids and not just say, hey, an 8 and above is a highly capable kid. What does our school district look like? Maybe it's a 7 and above on the COGAT. Maybe it's a 6 and above. So what it is, it's kind of like a bell curve. The 6, 7, 8 are right in the middle, and then obviously 9 is like your truly gifted students, which by the way, we have a few here. So program structure and support. In order to support me to make sure this program happens, we need to make sure that I have the ability to meet with every single parent of our highly capable students to create their individual learning plans. Those individual learning plans are valid for 2 years, so we only have to reevaluate them every 2 years. They are transferable to schools and districts, but OSPI has said the districts don't necessarily have to honor them. We can do our own testing because it's known for their school district. Okay. I don't know. Sometimes for me, I just need to look at the test results and I can kind of see, but I still might want to do some further assessment. And that's OSPI said that's our program. We can do that. The other thing I want to make sure we do is every kid gets all the documentation in the cumulative class, because I don't want anyone after me to have to solve any mystery. And then we also need to make sure, I know this doesn't happen a lot, but military families have different accommodations. And so we'll need to make sure that we're honoring those. Mostly they do get to follow them wherever they go. And we do have to honor them if their family is military. So we just need to make sure we're aware of that. Possibilities for the future. Like I said, a high cap coach in each building would manage the caseload. And that does, I mean, we're looking at, I think, 40 some odd kids at the elementary school and almost 30 at the middle school and about that same amount at school. And high school and middle school looks different than elementary. And so it's going to be different job descriptions for each. So that's something I really want to put out there that we need to do. And then those people would also be in charge of making sure the students are getting what they need in their classrooms, making sure the teachers are getting what they need in the classrooms, and any extra above and beyond activities that our students need. Those might be clubs, classes, extension programs, accelerated activities, anything that's going to help them become successful. Because I don't know, my son, when he was born, attended to Central. And I just don't want that for the elementary school. Okay, so we've got the professional development. This year I was really fortunate, thank you, Pete, to attend the National Association of Gifted Children, which took place in Seattle. And it was an amazing conference. It was the first time they've been in Seattle in 20 years, they said. So I got some great information there. I connected with our Washington Association of Educational shoot, I forgot the name of it. Yeah, and of course, we Washington Association of Education, the Gifted, Talented. and So we connected with them. They do have a conference this fall coming up that I would love to attend, but I know we can do what we need. So my wish list would be our HiCap coaches and myself would attend. And the other conference that I attended this year was the Washington Digital Research Association. And stupendous to meet both of the heads of the leadership departments at Whitworth and the University of Washington. Lots of great discussions on how we are reaching our gifted kids. Are we doing a good job? And I just want to say, I'm going to know that Washington State does a much better job than other states whose budgets are zero. So, thank you. So those are my hopes for next year. We're going to also be looking at in our group best practices for assessments. Are we doing what our students need? Are we giving them tests that are really going to give us the information we need to meet their salad right there, but hope you understood what it is. Because a lot of times our gifted kids don't do well. The traditional, a lot of them do better on performance based. And we need to make sure our teachers know that those are valid forms of assessment, and the kids can really show what they're learning based on all different kinds of systems, not just computer, not just box or things. And then elementary, middle, and high. It was comprised of a classroom teacher, at least one, a school psych, me, and then any other professionals that wanted to be there. And we had great participation in the middle of high school. I got a really bad program. But Ryan and Bill actually went to all 3 meetings, and he gave really great feedback. And it was fabulous. So they went through and looked at all the kids that we had amassed all of their data. So we didn't just look at their program tests. We looked at their math tests. We looked at their SBA tests. Some of the kids we even looked at their WIDA tests. Because believe it or not, if a kid can within a year test out of the WIDA test, that might be an assignment. They can acquire another language within a school year. You might. And so we looked at all of that data to decide whether or not they should be in. And the one thing we did not look at, and you're not going to, is grades, attendance. We referred them and looked at the referrals. Those things cannot be considered. And so that was great. It's a great combination for conversations. And you know, grades and attendance are going to come a bit way, but it's maybe they miss school because we're not getting maybe the grades are great because they're having kids. And so some great conversations happening about the schools. And then that next slide is just all of the different assessments that we use. So what is those? And some of them didn't have, like our little second graders, I don't have any. So we had to look at we have to make sure we have a written notification in place and an appeals. So if we deny a kid's services for having a school, their parents have a right to appeal. And then it'll come to me, and then I can look at all the data and decide. I didn't really have any decision making in the disciplinary committee. That was up to them for each school. And then when the parents appeal, it would back to me. If I deny that appeal, then it goes to Mr. P. So we just have to have that process in writing somewhere, and I'll be putting that on the website. And then we'll need to do that. I don't know if you guys need to do like a word thing. Yeah. Okay. And so moving forward, my philosophy for the program is we've got to be multidimensional. We've got to look at all forms of giftedness. Just because a kid has an IEP doesn't mean they're not gifted. And as a parent of a son who had an IEP and literally had people tell me he should be in honors in his IEP. That's why he should be. So we need to make sure that we're dealing with that hurdle that some people have. When it comes to that, those are our two kids. And they require thinking outside the box. Because I still think outside the box with my son who's 19. So we also need to look at making sure that we're inclusive instead of exclusive. And that's our norms that we can look at, our local norms. We need to make sure that we have that dynamic of giftedness. There's no argument with giftedness. It's kind of like autism or different kinds of disorders. It's a spectrum. Okay. And there's lots of different kids who fit underneath that umbrella. And they might be high super functioning, but they might be, you know, kind of 3/4 on this side. And we still need to make sure they get services and that we're giving them what they need to be successful. And then I just want to make sure that we ensure that these procedures are in place, that they just become what we're used to and capable of us. The state changes their mind about something. But we get different directives from OSPI. But for our school district, we need to make sure we've got the universal trainer, we've got the ability for the parents or whoever to make a recommendation, and that we honor those and that we test those kids and that we give them the feedback they need. Also, parents can test multiple times. Their kids can get tested every single year if they want to. It is something that they can work. They can achieve those skills to be highly capable. Giftedness, we think, is, you know, they're born with it. Highly capable is good work ethic. They want to be successful. They want to achieve. And those are honestly two different kids, but they are kind of the same level. So we just need to make sure all of our kids are getting what they need. That's me. Thank you, kids. That was great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate your efforts on that. And I think it's easy for us to focus on students that may be falling behind and for good reason, but obviously we need to make sure that we're providing the appropriate challenges for students on the other end of that spectrum, make sure that everyone's reaching their potential. So thank you. Appreciate that. All right, moving on to item 9 for comments.
I did attend the. It's nice to see. Things seem to be growing a little bit, which is nice to see. They can see that on the district house. It was fun.
Thank you. I blasted Brent past our approval of the so appreciate you typing right into something. Don't interrupt me. So you can take me too. All right. With that, we will entertain the motion for the handicap plan.
I motion to approve the handicap plan. I started wholeheartedly.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
All at the same time. We may not qualify for the people program.
All right, now back to board comments part 2.
I need you to write mine down or I need to say it again. Not again. Okay, thank you.
All right, Gina, do you have anything you want to share?
I don't, not this week.
Any board comment? All right, with that, we'll move on to item 10, superintendent's report. Mr. Peterson.
Thank you very much. Not sure why I decided to vote with the board that last roll call, but I think I was just shocked to see Dan walking through the door.
Yeah.
That's okay though. Anyway, so just very quickly, I have asked our attorney Paul Clay to go ahead and draft a resolution for the board asking for the next step in the process to dissolve our current 5 director districts and move into a 3+2 model. So when we get that back, I have already been in contact with Steve McCullough, the ESD 123 superintendent. I've talked with Amanda Hatfield at Benton County. And really the next logical thing for us to do, in fact, the next legal thing for us to do, pass the resolution, and then we submit it along with a copy of our maps that we got from some Amish data. Submit those to Mr. McCullough. Mr. McCullough sits with the county, make sure that the dots have been dotted, or the I's have been dotted, T's have been crossed, and then we move forward. So I'm still very hopeful we can see this on a November ballot.
Great.
Along those same lines, I've been contacted in the last week, and I'm not sure of the connection, but there's got to be one. The Benton County Planning Commission, as well as the City of West Richland Planning. They're both working on plans for their individual jurisdictions and really are interested in what we're planning. I have a feeling what they're doing is they're seeing growth in areas that they know are either right on the border of their jurisdiction. I know for a fact that's what West Richland's already told me. And so I'm going to be in contact with them to just make sure that we're on the mailing list so that we're staying in regular contact with them. I'm going to send them a copy of our last 10-year capital improvement plan, which quite frankly is based on a lot of construction and things that are, again, right in their jurisdiction area. So the next item, working on a professional development plan for back to school. Even though school hasn't gotten out yet, we're already working on plans for coming back to school in August. And right now, the top three areas that we're looking at incorporating into our teacher professional development are disciplinary practices, artificial intelligence, and how to incorporate it into various curriculum, as well as high cap and special needs trainings for both ends of the spectrum. So we'll be doing that and getting that back to. I'd like to thank Mr. Walters and the KBEA, because they've been having conversations at their building levels to make sure that we're making some plans that are both relevant and timely for them. So. And then finally, the last thing is not requiring a formal vote, but by show of hands, who's going to be at graduation on Saturday? We just need all four. Excellent. We just want to make sure we have the appropriate number of chairs. If you're bringing a spouse or significant other or family member, please let us know and we'll get some extra chairs put down there. And that's what I have. And Teddy, are we borrowing your flowers this year? Or anything?
No, because my husband put a watering system on, I would get strung up.
There you go. Okay, just wanted to check. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Any questions or comments, Ms. Peterson? Yep. With that, we'll move into executive session pursuant to RCW 42.30.110, section 1G. Performance of a public employee for 60 minutes. Oh boy. With no business to follow, so we will be adjourned. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Cole.